Yeah, Joe, I think some people prefer a fixed stop loss. I mean, some people use a super tight, like a 5% stop loss. I think for crypto stuff, you have to be a little more forgiving than 5%. But yeah, I like the Williams fractals as well, just because I don't have to think about them. I don't have to calculate them. They're just automatic. Boom, boom, boom. It's just, you're just a robot when you're looking at those, at least for me. There's really no question about what else is going on. It's literally just the technicals. If you guys want me to look at anything, just let me know. If you ask me for some random altcoin, I will denominate it in BTC, and we will have a grand old time talking about how bearish that is, because Bitcoin is the place to be. Sorry, folks. Sorry. Not sorry. What's up, Dev? Tic Tac. Holland. Holland, Michigan, or Holland, Holland? I'm guessing Holland, Holland. We'll get started in a few minutes. I don't really have much to talk about. It's just more of the same, you know? It's Bitcoin's leading everything. We can do some measurements. We'll talk about the election stuff a little bit. We'll talk about DXY, miners, MSTR. I don't think there's some like Giga Chad, Giga Brain thesis here other than we've been consolidating and we're starting to break up. That's kind of it. Williams Fractals had a back test of 20%. Yeah, I think if it depends too. I like to cheat it by going down a time frame. Like for instance, if I'm in a leveraged position, I will definitely bump down a time frame when waiting for the Williams Fractals. But if I'm in like a buy and hold swing trade, don't really care, just like low stress, then the Williams Fractals on the daily for me are usually the best way to go. I don't know, Mr. Bliss. I guess we'll talk about it. It's just been a slow grind. We'll talk about ways we can think about if we're breaking up or not. BRPHF. Is that crypto, Giovanni? Is that a hedge fund ticker? BRP. I don't know what that is. I mean, we're trying to do something. What's up, Gotta say that one carefully. Dillavio. What's up? F Society. How's it going? F Society's got some great charts in the Discord. Good chartist, that F Society. I mean, I'm levered up on the legacy account. What else are you gonna do? The other side of it would have to be DeFi, and I'd have to refund a wallet. Burger OTC Galaxy. Yeah, I mean, like, why though? You know, it's like I don't want to start by I don't want to start by crapping on somebody else, but it's just like, okay, yeah, we can pull up anything, fine. We can look at it. We could say XYZ. What's your target? What's your time frame? Okay, cool. Now, what does that look like in BTC? And it's got to be fairly convincing for me to even remotely care that this thing is worth paying attention to. That's the thing. And it's done okay. It's gained ground. It hasn't done amazing. These type of products, this is just Galaxy. These type of products are for people who want crypto exposure but don't want native crypto exposure. They can't touch leverage stuff. They'd rather touch companies. There are so many people. I cannot tell you how many TradFi people would much rather just trade Coinbase, or I think MSTR is a bit of a stretch, but we'll just say Coinbase. Anything that touches crypto, that's good enough for them. They don't need anything else. They're good. That's fine. You know, it's a company. It's in the universe. This list is growing. There's more and more of these companies touching crypto. So this stuff should do well. Now, is it going to do better than BTC? Does it look like it's going to do better than BTC? I don't know, but we can look at it. You know, does this look amazing against BTC here? It's ranged for a while. The range has been huge. It's trying to maybe bottom against BTC. You got to think about regulatory stuff. Again, time frame, target, election. Like best case for coin is full red sweep. Everything just gets allowed, and we have like top 500 meme coins in a bucket that we can trade. I don't know, like crazy stuff like that, right? But when I look at their custody business, custody's a race to zero. So sure, there will be more products, but there will also be more custodians if, what is it, SAB 21, FAB 21, whatever it is, FIT 21. If banks are allowed to custody crypto, I think custody fees go even lower. So, I don't know. You just got to think about that. Like, it's just like, why? To me, why bother? That's all. Like, just trade the underlying. To me, that makes way more sense. But yeah, you know, if you want this for whatever reason, it looks fine. You know, is it going to outperform BTC? I have no clue. Should it outperform BTC? I have no clue. Later on in the cycle, you will see lots of stuff outperform BTC, but that's late cycle. So it's worth monitoring maybe. One thing I do to monitor that is just go and look at BTC minus total 2. What do we know? Well, as soon as total 2 market cap is greater than BTC, it's typically the end. Good night, thanks for playing, cycle's over. Shortly thereafter. So what we don't want to see is stuff outperforming, you know? So yeah, you can be rooting for XYZ position to do well, but ultimately, as a signal, if total 2, and we can pull this up, total 2 you can look at here, and then you can compare crypto cap BTC. You'll see what I mean. Same percent. No, I want same. There you go. So what we've experienced over previous cycles, BTC will run up, alts will follow, and when alts outperform, when they get too exuberant, we're pretty close to the top within a couple weeks. You can see to me, this is just SBF effect because he's selling off BTC for alts specifically. But throughout 2021 and 2022, the alt market cap was way bigger than BTC. So up here, we're getting a divergence still, BTC still leading. That's what you want to see if you want this cycle to continue. So it's hard to want to root for anything else against it when, yeah, like intra-cycle, intra-week, whatever, these things can outperform. But ultimately, what we want to see is King Corn going to infinity first, and then everything else can follow. In a perfect world, you get 3, 4, 5, 6 trades out of this. You get, I don't know, 4 trades in a year. What else do you need? What else do you need? I got everybody trading random junk on junky exchanges. Sorry, it's weird because crypto natives want the risk side. The non-crypto people want nothing to do with us. And it's like this is the signal right here. The signal is pay attention to this and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Anyway, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Doing Friday instead of Thursday because I was gone Thursday. What's the best thing to look at if you're still sidelined? I don't know. I said for weeks, just have a plan. Whatever you do, have a plan. If you are, is this the right, sorry. Yeah. Have a plan. If we start breaking up, have a plan. We start breaking up down, have a plan. Have bids ready, have a plan ready, have a DCA ready, have a lump sum ready. Do whatever. Have an election strategy ready, or do nothing and just DCA like most people have been doing for a long time. I don't have anything else to say other than it's October. I mean, this is typically what we see. This is typically what we see pre-post election. This is typically what we see. Like we can go through all of this that we've been talking about. Nothing has changed. This is price relative to the cycle low compared to the previous 2 cycles. We don't have 100 cycles. We don't have 1,000 cycles. We don't have 10,000 years of data. But this is what we have, and it looks pretty close to what we've seen. So again, what's your time frame? What's your target? What's your risk tolerance? I can't answer that for you. We can talk about places to add, places to reduce, that sort of thing. But ultimately, we're doing what we should be doing in October in this part of the cycle. And if you want to get hyper bullish, if you want to just say, relative to halving, we've underperformed, this is done terribly, look at the previous cycles, that's like the glass half full or the glass half empty perspective. The glass half full perspective as well. We have a huge catch up here to make relative to previous cycles. I don't think this is a great graph to look at anymore just because we've made a new all-time high before halving. I much prefer this, but it's hard to be bearish. Sorry, it's hard to be bearish when we're seeing flows that we're seeing. The flows have been insane. And I know that's a multi-strategy discussion. It's not just long-only flows. But if we look at the cost basis in this red line here, cost basis of the ETFs has continued to rise while prices are going down. Is that bearish? Is that bullish? What does it represent? What is the psychology of the people buying in the chop? Do they care? Are they just meeting some portfolio allocation percentage target? 1%, 5%, whatever it is. They don't seem to care. Price is going down, they're adding, They're not subtracting. And then when we look at the MVRV part, very curious to see, let's say our target is 80K or 120, whatever it is, what does the cost basis relative to any move higher look like? Do we start to see profit taking early or not? That's going to be something very interesting to watch for. Is this money short term? Is it medium term? Is it swing trading? Is it just cycle, right? We will see the behavior as far as what's going on there. I suspect part of it is also going to be relative to long-term versus short-term capital gains into next year. So anybody who entered down here will be eligible for long-term cap gains tax-wise by the time, a year from that date. So I'd imagine we may slow down in like February 2025 if we start to see people taking profit. This is just like decision tree building out, if this then that. This isn't like promises. This is just like, okay, what's going to happen here? I don't know. Are we going to continue to see crazy flows, or are we going to see people profit taking? Is it going to be a mix of both? Just something to think about. I posted this too because every time I post the flows every day, I just post the number. I don't ever say like, whatever. I don't ever imply anything. It's just people see the numbers and they're like, oh, this is bearish. Look at the last time the flows were this high. It's bad, or this is just ARB or whatever. And absolutely, this is not just people going that long. This is all sorts of strategies, including the basis ARB, including long spot, short MSTR, whatever other random strategies are going on with futures. This is all sorts of stuff. So yeah, we're plus 2.1 billion in the past week. Should we be higher price-wise if that was all net long? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know who's selling on the other side, right? We may have tons of spot selling that's just hard to nail down. And it's just people exchanging BTC, right? New buyers selling to OG holders or whatever. But the cumulative 30-day rolling, sorry, not the cumulative, the rolling 30-day flows are rising again. So that's what we want to see. That's really the most important thing. Not necessarily each day on a day-to-day basis, but just, do we get this consistent flow? Is there a behavioral attitude towards allocating or reducing, getting rid of, is there some sort of short-term swing trading strategy that we can see that's going on here? Or are these people that are in it to win it for the long term, right? So seeing continuous flows here, it's never a bad thing. I don't care what strategy it is growing the pie. Great, perfect. Price will figure it out, but it's not bearish. It just isn't. It just isn't. The other thing about ETH flows have been basically non-existent, basically zero. This is cumulative ETH flows since inception, and it's been negative, which just means the ETH product has overcome any of the inflows. Unlike BTC, it was a lot of money coming out of GBTC and changing hands to a lower fee ETF. For ETH, it seems as though we're seeing a lot of people just exit ETH entirely. So that's what this represents, the negative flows here. If we start to see this turn around back to like net zero, cool, right? That would be good for ETH. I don't know how that's going to happen as far as timing, but yeah, sure, something to watch. But it definitely hasn't been bullish. Let's just make that super clear on the ETH side of things. And as far as the CME futures basis trade, this is probably difficult to see because my face is in the way. It's super thin. But the basis trade is around 10%-ish. Is that juicy enough for another couple billion to come in from Millennium, which is one of these ARB shops that focuses on this type of strategy, this net neutral strategy? It might be. They were up here with 2 billion. I forget exactly where, but it might be juicy enough. You're seeing OI on the CME at an all-time high, and I'm seeing a ton of people post like, oh my God, OI is so massive, it's so bearish, it's so over. I don't think people understand what connecting to TradFi does to open interest or any of this stuff. It's like, of course, open interest should go up. We are seeing different types of strategies and different types of money access this stuff. Looking at ETH basis also hovering around 10-ish. I don't think those products are as liquid, which is probably why we're not seeing the ARB people coming in. I think they'd rather just stick with BTC. There may be a time down the road when we'll see those ARB flows, but if I had to guess, they're just sticking with BTC. Let me catch up with chat. Holland says Tic Tac. What's up, Dave? Hodl potatoes. Love potatoes. Might have some potatoes later. Wake me up when Josh. Oh, we talked about that. Okay. Wind moon. I mean, it wasn't a full moon like last night. Any idea on Chinese stocks like Alibaba and others? So you can play the Chinese stonk game, or you can just play the global liquidity game and trade gold, trade BTC, trade US equities. I don't know. I trust more of my money on stuff that I know rather than the China stuff, but yeah, it could work out. I mean, we can look at KWeb today. What do I think about SoFi? SoFi looked good. Well, we can take a look at that. AI crypto miner MIGI. I'm familiar with the name. We'll take a look at the chart. I should probably write this down before I'm writing checks I can't cash here by remembering all this stuff. SoFi, Miggy, ENA versus TIA. There's a chart that I haven't looked at. Sure, we'll take a look. What do I think about Ben? Ben's great. I think any analyst that has a viewpoint is great. I don't have to agree with everything they say, but yeah, he's got data. I love data. What's wrong with Ben? Ben's been right about dominance, and I haven't disagreed. Bowden. I mean, we can look at it. if you want. Thanks for the streams. You're welcome. Lord Hamon, you need a standalone vid on the basis trade or the ARB or what? 120K by Christmas? Sure. Why not? Why not? RBR, talking about bouncing off 69K. The mood, the vibe has been just grinding, you know? We're grinding. F Society in the Discord has had a great chart on the 8-hour, I think it was. A lot of people look at different time frames than I do, so I'm thankful because I don't typically look at like the 8-hour. I'm not like fixated on it, but there's some evidence for, you know, this sort of thing going on, and then we can measure the fibs because I get asked this every video. Using the fib tool up here, the first option, going from the high to the low will give you a projection up here. So this might be our near-term target area. And you can measure this like 65 different ways right now because of the range. You could do a partial depth, a full depth of the channel. You could do, you know, whatever. You could do you can do this little W in here. We're well past that now. But there's lots of ways you could measure where this is going. I think ultimately they all measure higher. I just don't see a reason to get bearish in here. If we look at the Ray stuff, if we are like the most generous we can be with resistance, then we're there, like today. Alternatively, you could just say there is also a level here and a level here. Okay, those are the next levels. If you don't like diags, I would love it if we pulled back a little bit and then busted through. I don't know if we'll see that, but I would like that. But this looks great. What is there not to love? What is there not to love? If you turn on Williams Fractals and we are on the daily, this was the first ad right there. Current stop loss here. And that's on the daily. If you don't like that, you can go lower. You can also say, well, there was an ad here. And there's going to be an ad here. And then you're just saying every higher high I'm adding. You know, this could be part of a I'm not in yet strategy, but want to be. Some people do not like this because they are buying highs constantly. And they don't like that. Okay, so that's not a strategy for you. But that is a strategy to think about. What would BTC price? A concerning price, sub 60, is concerning. Below the daily cloud, which would be 58, would be concerning. Otherwise, I'm not really concerned. Javi, poor Javi. Yeah, Dev, I wouldn't want this. At this point, you really don't want this making a new lower low. We've made a series of higher lows. So to make a fresh lower low would be, I think, concerning. You know, if we take like this diag here, anything below that would be an issue. We can also just like measure this as an ascending triangle, and you can fib that out. Again, you get the same target, 76, 85, whatever it is. We can look at MACD, we can look at RSI, there's no divergences here. Weekly MACD looks good. I don't have it up, but looks fine, you know. So is this a chart to be bearish? I don't think so. This chart looks phenomenal to me. So I hope people are shorting into this because I think it goes higher. Minor hard fork. It's okay. BTC volume seems low. I don't really care about volume, honestly. There's so many exchanges. There's so many products. There's legacy. There's everything else. I just don't care. If we had one exchange that traded BTC or alts or whatever, then I think it'd be much more relevant, but I just can't. I can't pretend to care about volume. And that's been my attitude for quite some time, just because it's so fragmented, even fragmented globally with who's trading what when, who's awake. Yeah, do we want rising volume? Absolutely, but looking at this, does it tell me anything? I don't know. It just tells me volume is volume. It hasn't jumped up yet. We can look at individual exchanges. We can go to like Kraken and look at volume here. It's not rising, it's just flat. Now, if we break all-time highs, we should see a jump in volume, but I don't know. I'm not worried about it. You know, you can always pick this apart and say, this is not the perfect exact setup or breakout or pre-breakout, post-breakout. Then size it down. Like if you don't like it, size it down or ignore it. But have a plan. Have a plan. BTC DXY. Yeah, we can look at that. It's futures, right? BTC divided by... A lot of these relative value charts should be breaking out if BTC spot is gaining strength. Where was the level omen? It was like here-ish. You can turn off the cloud even. Do that. All right, I just got an alert on HUT. Lots of alerts popping off. It looks good. It should look good. This is how we win. We win by being a faster horse. That's it. That's how we win. I like pumpkin pie. I can't eat egg yolks, so pumpkin pie is problematic for me. Maybe a fruit pie of some kind of strawberry. Yeah, we'll take a look at Sui in a second. I'll look at anything. Now, am I going to make fun of you for trading it? Maybe, but I'll look at anything. Oh, a standalone bid on market tops. Yeah, that's a good idea for Tuesday. I'm always looking for Tuesday ideas. So, Total 2 versus BTC. TTT. Okay. Coinalyze daily long short. Yeah, I mean, funding, like, we can always look at all that, and that's fine. But until we do anything or go anywhere, I don't really care about funding. It's like, show me what funding is going to look like at 80 or 75 or new all-time highs. That's much more relevant to me than whatever this is. Like, I'm sure funding is probably fairly long, but we'll look. I don't think it matters as much here, personally. Let's take a look. Now, if it's turbo short, I would love to see that. I just doubt that that's the case, and that's not the case by the looks of it. Funding. So funding is not high, but it is positive. I'd say it's pretty low. So if we compare this to what funding looked like last time this year, much lower than last time this year. So it looks okay, no concern. What we don't want to see is funding all the way up here at like 06. That's typically the end. Just crazy blowouts in funding, you know. Price will keep going, but it's just going to be harder and harder and harder to keep going because you get more and more mathematical funding rationale to close a position if you're long. So you definitely have to be mindful of that. But funding here looks totally fine to me. Do I ever use fibs to buy the dip without a long? Yeah, you can do fibs. If we think about what's one that comes to mind, I think AVAX. If there's like a pattern or something, you're measuring a range, like here, This was AVAX. It grazed the full measured move target. If we're talking about this thing here, it grazed it. So that's always a consideration for sure. If I'm confident that it's has a chance, then you can do that, definitely. Permission to get some chocolate. Some chocolates and bonbons. Sub 64 isn't good. Yeah, but like, who cares? Like, we've ranged for how many months? The cloud likes 60.1 on the key June. Cloud itself is at 60.6. Anything below 58 would be a new lower low, so we don't really want to see that if we're bullish. We also shouldn't be breaking the middle of the range if we're bullish, which is also the same levels. We can turn on the 50 and the 200 cross. Those are levels to pay attention to. 63, 61. This is still crossed bearish. That's something to watch for coming up. That's going to be late and delayed, but it's good to have that cross bullish. If we look at the 20-week moving average, that's at 62.3. That's a level that we should probably hold if we're bullish. If we look at how this looked last time this year, very similar. You get this like crunching aggregation of all the moving averages along with the cloud. And then we see what happens once that resolves. It looks like it's trying to resolve higher. That's BTC. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, the election. I don't know, other than this, what great reasoning, maybe liquidity, maybe debt. It's kind of a little bit of everything, but I think this is definitely playing a role. And we can say this is fixed, or this is gamed or manipulated in some way. Okay, fine. But even though this might be overly optimistic, it certainly feels like markets, period, are starting to price in a Trump instead of a Harris. That's just facts. I don't think the markets would be this happy if Harris was getting priced in here. Pecan pie also good. Kraken BTC should be fine. I have no issues with that. Any of the BTC, what are they? It's not stable coins. Wrapped BTC products. Those are all probably going to have some sort of custody component that you're going to need to rely on, including wrapped BTC. And that's just, it is what it is, right? I would much rather rely on a centralized custodian if I'm using that stuff than DeFi, but that's just me. Some people would never want to touch that. So you got to kind of pick your poison. Quarterly returns, right on track here. Green. Monthly returns, right on track here. You know, this isn't anything that 10,000 people haven't already said for the past 6 months, right? Like Q3 bad, Q4 good, October better when September is bullish for the most part. You know, it's more of the same. So don't bet against that. Don't be surprised. NFA, have a plan. Gasp. What's up? How do I compare stocks to BTC on TradingView? So on TradingView, you can use anything as a math equation. So you could do X minus whatever, A minus B, A divided by. So if we want to do AVAX divided by Tesla, we could see what that looks like. And then from there, I just say like, what is the zoomed out? I don't like looking at like zoomed in, microscopic 1 hour type stuff. What is like the most obvious thing here? The most obvious thing here is this is trying to bottom against Tesla. It's still pretty rangy. It's still all over the place, right? There's no massive overarching opinion that you can really make here. Something more relevant is probably MSTR divided by BTC. There was lots of talk and discussion about historically where this has been, where can this go, yada, yada, yada. if I'm like levered up on low time frames, probably worth paying attention to this on a weekly basis. Where do I think this could go? What's the plan if this goes higher? What's the plan if it stalls out? If this is an Adam and Eve, this is just technicals. This isn't like, we're not proposing some master's thesis on MSTR as a transformer or whatever Saylor says. Measuring this as an Adam and Eve, which is probably never going to happen, is 01, 02. But if we're just looking at this on candles on low time frames, like the daily over the past week, maybe you take some sort of action measuring this on where you think this could go. I'm just giving you hypotheticals as far as what to look at, what to watch for. Maybe you're looking at this on like the 8 hour using the Williams fractals or whatever. That's one way to think about it. Or you just don't care. It just depends on what time frame you're thinking about. If you're trading out of BTC for anything and it does not beat a buy and hold, you're not only losing against BTC, but you're losing the tax component of that. You're just doing more work for no reason whatsoever. That's the whole point of thinking about it in BTC. Doesn't the crust use egg yolks? Some crusts do, yes. Usually it's like an egg wash or something. Tuesday idea, how to make money. How to make money is DCA. DCA and HODL. Nice breakout retest in MSTR, gold mooting, FET. We'll take a look at FET, sure. What's up, Eddie? Sui, yeah, we'll go down the list on some alts. Thanks for insights to the whole shop. Yeah, I think the bottom line for the chop is we're still above the daily cloud. We're still above moving averages. It would be much easier to be bearish just on the TA. I'm not talking about anything else, just the TA. Much easier to be bearish if the cloud was bearish for me on TA first. So if things are printing bearish chart patterns or we're making lower lows or whatever, right? That's a great time to be bearish. But when we see this is not bearish. This could go nowhere. It could stall out at 69. I don't know. But as we sit here today, this is not bearish. This does not look bearish to me. It doesn't look overbought to me. It doesn't look FOMO-licious to me. It just looks like something that's ready to go higher. That's it. So I wouldn't want to be short. And then we can layer on the macro, the liquidity, the election, seasonality. But this first does not look bearish to me. What's up, Burns? 5:30 a.m. Man, just watched the recording, bro. Thanks for coming. How do you turn high voltage currency into a low voltage? Yeah, exactly, Joe. Look, MSTR is going to do great. Is it going to outperform everything? I don't know. Miners probably going to do great. Are miners going to outperform everything? I don't know. That's where the individual comes in. This is MSTR. MSTR on the daily looks fine. Using the previous range as a measured move, we're talking 300, 400. I don't know the time frame. I don't know what the premium to NAV is going to look like. I don't know what the MSTR BTC chart is going to look like. All I know is the technicals for this on the daily still point higher and still look bullish on the cloud and look bullish on the Pitchfork. That's it. What you really need to pay attention to is whether or not this is going to outperform BTC. Now, if you layer on like leverage and calls and whatever else onto this, then you could outperform BTC. It's possible. Or you could just do none of that and still be in BTC and be fine, right? Like there isn't some urgency, I don't think, for people to take action and trade MSTR because it's going to go to 10x premium. to NAV or whatever. The chart looks fine. It'll be fine. It'll do fine. That's it, right? We can look at this relative to miners, relative to BTC, relative to any of the Mag 7. We can do all that. But this chart individually looks great. Still looks great. I cut half of my position at 205 and moved it over into leveraged BTC and one of the ETFs. Just because the premium, the NAV premium was kind of topping out at 3x there. And I could keep going. I don't know. What's very strange to me, for the people who don't think that the election stuff is playing a factor here, we are mooning with dollar strength. It makes zero sense to me whatsoever. Why is this happening? I don't have a good reason other than, is it inflation expectations? Is it debt, right? Why are we mooning? Why is gold mooning when the dollar is mooning? Why is gold mooning when yields are going higher along with the dollar? So somebody's calling somebody's bluff here, and they're just saying, yeah, well, the yield's not high enough yet. Yield's still not high enough. Dollar strength, not high enough. There'll be a point here, if yields keep going up, if dollar strength keeps going up, where it starts to matter. But it surprisingly hasn't. Surprisingly hasn't. Giovanni, Trump stance on recreational marijuana. I don't know if I know his stance. I assume it's not great. Time to be bearish is when it looks bullish. Go short. That's the other thing about this range. I think people are so like accustomed to just assuming this can't keep going because it hasn't. And look, I'm not saying we're going to hit 80 next week. All I'm saying is I will get bullish every time we're at the top of the range because that's where the money's at for me. Like, yes, you need some risk management for going lower, but being bearish doesn't help you. Being bearish and wrong here hurts way more than being bullish and wrong. Bullish and wrong is like, okay, you know, my stop loss is ideally, we can look at this. What is like the Williams fractal? 66, 66666. That could be your stop loss. Kind of tight, but it's there on the Williams fractals. So that could be your stop loss to the downside. And then you could put bids at like 61. That's reasonable. But if you're short and wrong, your stop loss is probably at 70, at 71, and at 72, and at all-time highs. Those are probably your stop loss levels. And if those aren't your stop loss levels, then where, right? We're just playing games here, but that's why it's hard. It's harder to be short if your stop loss isn't all-time highs. You know, it's the same if we flip this chart and we say, okay, where would your stop loss be on a long, on a chart that looks like this? Certainly anywhere around 70. Certainly, just using logic. So yeah, you know, you could keep DCAing into a short. I'm not going to stop you. I'm going to cheer you on because I think that's wrong. So I would just be careful with that. Druck said Dixie because of tariffs and BTC up because of admin. Yeah, I guess tariffs for DXY. Draw on Pitchfork on MSTR. Yeah, we can do pitchforks. Pitchforks, I never understood why people hated the pitchfork so much. I think because it gives you the opportunity to say something like 33K by July or whatever by whenever, because it gives you a channel. So for any blind chart, you're looking for an existing obvious channel. You have to be able to see that. So one of the other, let me go to a different Let's go to this. Is it this one? Yeah, we'll get rid of that. If we go to the daily, the channel, the bearish channel was here, right? It was this. This was the bear channel. So for the Pitchfork, you want to take the extreme. If I can find it, I can never find it. Where is it? There it is. Pitchfork. Take the extreme, take an extreme low, an extreme high. What does that give you? Now, if you're like back here, I like to do this on log, so make sure you're on log. Otherwise, yours is going to look different. You're always asking, you're purposely curve fitting this. That's the other thing I think people don't like. This is curve fitting, period. Yes, that's what you want. Okay. The next thing you can do is turn on this magnet, and it'll magnet to the wick. That way you can line it up exactly. So at this time, you could have said, okay, this is the established bearish channel. If this breaks higher, then I'm bullish. And we can go to ETH BTC and do the same exercise. Why does that look so weird? Oh, because it's on the replay. We can go to ETH BTC, do the same exercise, and we can say, where's the extreme high or extreme low, and then a matching extreme low or high that we can watch to create the channel or within the channel. If we take off the replay, this is how that looks now. And so my thought process is, okay, we're not bullish until we're up here, right? It is what it is. It's a bearish channel. So you're always looking for just extreme levels to draw a channel and then see what happens. Difference between a Pitchfork and a regular channel. I like the Pitchfork because it gives you intra-channel diags to look at as support resistance. There are some Pitchfork rules that you can look up, which are like something like if you fail one of the extremes, you typically reach for the other end or something. I don't know. I don't know all the rules. I don't remember the rules, but there are specific Pitchfork rules that you can trade around. That's another reason. But you're just trying to pick out extremes in the levels, extreme lows, extreme highs, whatever. So on the current MSTR Pitchfork, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Just anything obvious, right? I'm not trying to I'm curve fitting it, but I'm not going out of my way to do anything insane, right? Just what's the local high, what's the local low, what's the extreme, that's it. And if that lines up, to me, that says the market subconsciously is definitely paying attention to whatever's going on. Before this broke out in February, I remember saying, we've lived below the midline of this Pitchfork for a year. It would be very interesting to see if we break up and live up here. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to live in the bullish half of the Pitchfork. Shouldn't Trump presidency dump DXY? I thought so too, Boa, but I guess if Druck says tariffs are bullish DXY, then I gotta believe him. I don't know. Joey. Sorry, I'm just reading here. Please tell me you're gonna have another big pullback. Arya, I don't know. You gotta just plan it out. ASMR for trading. Palladium. Yeah, what's the ticker for Palladium? I mean, I usually pull up SPPP, but okay, what else did I want to talk about? ETH. It's funny, 0 people have asked me about ETH. How many messages have we had so far? Like 200? Maybe 300 messages? 0 people have asked me anything about ETH. Maybe because they know what I'm going to say, or maybe because they're just experts at ETH trading. I don't know. But it's just funny. It's funny to look at the volumes. I mentioned this earlier. Like, look at the volumes today on Kraken. What is the top 5? ETH has surpassed Sol, but it's BTC, 2 stables, and Doge. Now, to be fair to Doge, it's up 15%, so it should have a lot of volume. That makes sense. But ETH is consistently not number 2. It's consistently either below Sol or below something else. It's just funny. Just funny. This should, if you're bullish BTC, which I am, you should be bullish everything else for the most part that looks remotely like this, because it should follow BTC eventually. Is it going to lag and underperform? Probably. But yeah, this should break up. This should break up. Targets like 3,500, anything above 28, and you're probably good to go. Looks good on the cloud, fine. But this is not the chart that you really want to pay attention to on a long-term basis, because you're getting diluted, you're getting eaten away at your Satoshi value against BTC. And I think the people that trade the USD side just ignore that. Fine, whatever. Sol, same thing. IHS, above the cloud. This should break up. This should retest 190 eventually, 185, whatever that is. Looks fine. Looks fine. Not bearish. Should follow BTC, but will probably lag initially. Doge has done really well. I tweeted about this, I don't know, a couple of days ago probably. But the near-term target is kind of silly. I don't know how quickly we get to 20 cents, but if you measure the depth of this consolidation, that's where it takes you. Somebody was saying that this could be like a Trump beta trade because of Elon Musk, and I don't, that's like we're going out on a limb here, but maybe that's why Doge is doing better. I don't know, but it looks great. It looks much better than a lot of this stuff. It has that same rounded bottom characteristic. There are tons of this stuff, by the way. Meme coins, Mumu, somebody, Golshi pointed this out. Yeah, why not, right? Why not? Why not? If you're bullish Sol, and Sol looks like this, bullish Sol beta makes sense. The chart looks the same. Chart looks exactly the same. Back to Doge. High time frame Doge target, 90 cents, new all-time highs. Just throwing that out there. What do we think, chat? New all-time highs on Doge. What do we think, chat? What do we think? Here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this like rising inverted head and shoulders. I don't know if this is white coffee, and I don't think it is, but it's above the cloud. It's got a defined range, or it's trying to get above the cloud. This is going to take probably 6 months to play out. But I think it's favorable for an eventual attempt at all-time highs. No clue on how long this is going to take. And maybe it does something around the election. I don't know. But second person to ask for a pullback. Market, chat. Market. $3. Sold to $3. Or Doge to $3. I don't know about that. But sure, anyway, that's Doge. Something else Golshi asked me about, BMEX. There are lots of alts that look like this on the USD pairs. Stacks, AVAX, we can look at all of them. They're all trades to take if you like those trades. That's as much as I can say. Are they going to outperform BTC? I don't know. If you like trading alts, then yeah, like this is the stuff you're searching, you're seeking out. A multi-month bottom, yeah, as a potential breakout trade, sure. So anything that looks like that, love it. Dollar Doge worth more than yeah. All right, so for Kraken, let's just go down the list here and take a look. Let me uninvert this. Flows should be interesting today again. Doge we talked about, ETH, Sol we talked about, Sui people were asking me about. My issue with Sui, and this depends on your entry, depends on your time frame, depends on your sizing, leverage, risk tolerance. That's always the caveat. If we look at this mess down here, whatever this was it a diamond bottom? Was it an inverted head and shoulders? I don't know. Roughly kind of measures here where we're at now. I would be more confident at this moving higher if we had another consolidation that looked more bullish. Just like everything I keep talking about, video after video, stream after stream, this was a multi-month process. ETH BTC will not just randomly bottom on you on a Wednesday, okay? It's going to take a minute. Everything generally takes a minute. So it's easier to be confident when this stuff has gone sideways for a long time. So what would I do here if I had a massive position? I would be watching the fractals on the daily. What do those look like? Now, some of the fractals on lower time frames have already been tripped. These are going to be hard to see on Kraken Pro, but if you pull this up on any charting software using the Williams fractals, even if you're not trading this is just a lesson in like what to look for. Okay, fractal, fractal, fractal. That was not a breach. That was just a new low. So I guess on the 12-hour, it hasn't breached it yet. Alts tend to move on you very quickly. Obviously, that's why most people trade them. So for me, if I'm using the doubled cloud on the daily, it's kind of slow, honestly. So watch it on the 12-hour. Do you see a bearish TK cross? Do you see head and shoulders? Do you see a rising wedge? Do you see a bear div? There's definitely a bear div here still. So I don't have great confidence that this just like keeps going forever. But it looks fine. It looks okay. But I'd watch the Williams fractals. If we pull up Sui BTC, do they not have that on Kraken? Okay. Let's take a look here. Sui BTC. I think I said Wednesday. It's at this inflection point. I don't know. I don't know what that means. If you're confident and bullish, sure. If I was in this trade anywhere and up 200%, 150%, my home base is BTC, my bias is BTC. So I'm going to live in BTC. That's just me. I'm going to take that 100%, whatever, and just be done with it and not even care. So it just depends. Depends on what your mindset is. So that's Sui. Tia. Somehow top 10 on the list on volume. Tia, back to the Sui example, thinking about multi-month lows. Sure. Like, yeah, why not, right? Why not? Why not? This has a complex inverted head and shoulders. Maybe it tries to dip again. Maybe it breaks through 650, whatever it is. The cloud says it's a little early. The chart pattern says it's certainly in the process. So this is a sizing, leverage, confidence, breakout versus pre-breakout, right? It's all the same stuff over and over again. If you like it, sure. I don't hate it. It looks better here than it did in September. September was the low, but it looks way better here. It's done nothing for months. Perfect. Love it. Bearish momentum. Done. It also has this weird, I can never draw them correctly, but like Gann fan type thing. These diagonal, this like resistance level, it's clearly above that. And we can say this is voodoo science fiction. That's fine. But it's above it. Okay? So if we're looking for things, it's above it. It's trying to put in a multi-shouldered inverted head and shoulders thingamajig. I like it more above 680. I like it more above the daily cloud. Somebody asked me ENAT. We gotta make this chart. ENA divided by TIA. What do we got here? What do we got here? I don't know. Ranging, trying to bottom. What I said about ENA last week. Where is it on here? They have it on Kraken, right? What I said last week is you get these newer coins with great looking chart patterns, whatever. You can trade it, but this goes back to the confidence thing. Am I confident in this coin doing what I expect inverted head and shoulders to do to go to 56 cents? Not really, because I don't know about the unlocks. I don't know what's going on with the VCs selling, blah, 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 right? There's a ton of people who are underwater. So my sizing on this would just be low for me. But if you like this, if you understand the metrics, if you know what it is, blah, 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 yeah, that's a great chart pattern. Does it look better than TIA? It looks about the same. It certainly is broken out a little bit more. So I don't know. It's kind of like, what do you prefer? What do you prefer? Ripple's gone nowhere for a long time. It's got a level at 65 cents, 66 cents. Until it's above that, doesn't really matter to me. Tau looked worse than Sui. I was saying maybe maybe this is a diamond top structure. It just doesn't look immediately bullish to me. It doesn't mean it has to break down. It's just if you had a slam dunk 100% move of a trade, why? Like, yeah, every cycle everything's gonna go 10x, blah blah blah. I get it, but I don't think we're quite in that point. So sell half on a double, trim. You know, I don't know. What's your time frame? What's your risk tolerance, et cetera, et cetera? I don't know. I can't answer that for you. Whiff. Whiff kind of looks like Doge with it's trying to bottom. All this stuff is basically looking at a horizontal or a diagonal. That's all we're really doing. You know, it's not like TA's rocket science. What's the horizontal look like? Is it making higher highs? FTM looks fine. Don't really have anything to say there. Maybe cup and handle type stuff. SHIB. SHIB is another like best in class chart to me, just because when I pull this up, it is so obvious what this looks like. I don't know if this is going to play out. I don't know if it's just my brain playing with me, pareidolia. But yeah, it looks good. It looks really good. SHIB to 2,500 sats. What is that percentage wise? 40% move plus? Sure, why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Let me catch up on chat. We had 69. Yes, we did. I don't know what Billy is. What about Billy? I don't know what that is. Doge all-time high feels inevitable. Fair enough. Why is Javi so angry? I don't know. Bears tend to be angry people. You know, that's just my experience. Someone asking about Say. Looks fine. Looks fine. I have no issues with it. Is it going to outperform BTC? I don't know. No idea. This is why if I'm ever trading alts, especially as BTC is breaking out, just sizing, bring that down. Bring that sizing down. That's all. Like, you don't ever want to be in a place where it's rich or wrecked every trade, you know? If you like the coin and the community and whatever else, whatever other garbage people think about, then yeah, you can take the trade. But is it going to outperform BTC? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, Boa gets it. Boa gets it. The truth is this, that this stuff rarely outperforms BTC if BTC is actively breaking out, you know? Berg asking about Cardano, his usual Cardano request. We will do that. Let's take a look here. ADA flat. I got nothing. I got nothing. Now here's the more concerning part, Berg. I hope you're sitting down. I hope there are no women or children in the room. I hope you do not have a low blood sugar. I don't want you to pass out on me. This chart looks awful. This is it. Cardano BTC. There's not much else to say. Now, again, you can say it's close to the bottom. This is it. This is the low. But it takes time to bottom. It's not like it's going to randomly turn around on you, you know? And this is probably just the inflation differential, along with, you know, being a legitimate blockchain. That's what you're trading here. So this does not look good against BTC. DJT. Paul. Dev, I agree. It's just I don't have all the BTC pairs on Kraken, but yeah, we can go through them. Is Monero BTC really the top of the BTC pairs right now? It is. Any bullish reversal patterns here? No. Overly bearish? No. Remotely bullish? No. That's my thought process for most of these charts. Doge trying to bottom doesn't look great against BTC, but it's trying to bottom. It's not in the cloud. Bearish DK cross. Next chart. You know, you don't have to overthink this. ETH BTC sitting on the low and drawing a bear flag along with some sort of potential falling wedge does not look bullish here. It just doesn't. It would look better at 041. But not great. Not great. Sol BTC. Also just kind of chopping around on the bearish side of the chop. It's at a diagonal support. Doesn't look great. Maker. Whew. What is that? Oh boy. What happened? Was there a... Man, that is yikes right there. They were talking about doing something with something and changing something. I can't remember. Not a bullish chart. Ripple, same thing as Monero, honestly. Since 2017, Ripple against BTC has not looked bullish. It has not held highs, has continued to just bleed. That's just what it is. It is what it is, folks. Litecoin, multi-week bleeder. We got a bleeder. Bleed, bleed, bleed. Nothing here. We'll love to see what this looks like in 2025, but not today. Gold BTC. Had a little bit of a run there. You could probably draw a wedge on that. Get Slime on the case. Slime will draw you a wedge so fast on this. He will draw you a wedge. He will draw you a wedge like that. Boom. It is trying to break down. So that's good for BTC. Good for BTC. Tron BTC has gone nowhere for years. There's no point. There's just no point. It's done nothing forever. It just doesn't matter. DOT, new all-time lows, and this gets depressing very quickly the further down the list we go. So we're gonna stop here, but yeah, I can't think of a coin that looks great. Doge up 10% against BTC. Storage, okay, it looks okay. But yeah, there's not much going on out there against BTC. XRP to 100. All right, I'll believe it when I see it. Can ETH BTC bottom? ETH BTC can bottom once there's evidence of a bottom, but to try to imagine every couple sats down that's the bottom just seems very silly to me. It's certainly a bellwether of the alts, period, you know? And I said last week or in one of the videos or something, because we're this low to a multi-month low, like look how far back this goes. Because we're this low, yeah, you could take a trade. I don't think this trade pans out. Basically, it's a stop loss at new multi-month lows. I don't think this trade pans out. I don't think it's the place to be right now. But you could, you know, I could be wrong on this, that this magically bounces and whatever. I would just want to see a little bit of reassurance first that there's life in this thing. It just doesn't look good. Link and Link BTC both look horrible. Sorry, Dev. I don't even need to bring that up. Pentelja, what's up, man? Sorry about the Phillies. Yeah, they just couldn't hit the ball. Couldn't hit the ball. Cardunzo. $44. Sorry, FET. Where were we? Buppity-bum. Is there a FET BTC on? No. I don't know. Is that anything? It kind of looks like WGMI. It kind of looks like the miners. It's kind of up chop. It's in some sort of channel. It just doesn't look super clean. Maybe this plays out as a inverted head and shoulders into 2025. It doesn't look like it's the place to be right now, to me. Yeah, Atom BTC looks horrible. Matic BTC looks atrocious. Oof. Atom BTC. This is the problem with, we had talked about this. Someone was asking me about this in like the end of 2023. And this goes back to like ETH BTC. Yeah, you can always take a trade at a multi-month low with a stop loss that makes sense. But if you're doing that, you got to be sure that you're going to pay attention to that stop loss, because this is the risk. The risk is it just doesn't stop going down. That's the risk. Matic BTC, very curious what this looks like on... if Binance got rid of the chart because it changed the name, I'm going to be upset. Pole BTC? Oh my God, come on. That should be illegal. Stop getting rid of charts. I'm pretty sure Binance had the longest Matic. I don't even know who else would. Does Kraken have it? No. Because Matic started back here, lower, so it's hard to know where that level was anymore, but I guess we're even below that. Like, this is the problem. This is your brain on altcoins, right? If you're saying like this is the low, this should hold. Well, we're now 72% lower than the low. So trades on these Don't make sense yet to me. Not yet. STX BTC, that one could look okay. STX is BTC beta, basically. Yeah, you know, it's trying to make the scooper, the inverted head and shoulders scooper. Doesn't look like Matic, doesn't look like ETH, doesn't look like Atom, doesn't look like ADA, so that's a win. This, at the very least, it's holding sideways. Historically, it's gone higher. Can you say anything more than that? Not really. But this is kind of like, you're playing hard mode because now we're trying to figure out, you know, where could this go, this cycle? Do we rotate in and out of this? Do we watch this channel? You know, I don't know. It's just easier to say, BTC looks good, let's hold on to that. Yeah, FTM looked fine to me. Yeah, Maker, I forget, they did some governance thing, I can't remember. Johnny, I talked about the successful alts early. I said they've done really well. They look a little toppy here. Tau more than Sui. If you were trading Sui, I would watch it on the 12-hour, if I can find it here. Watch it on the 12-hour, watch the Williams fractals, watch the cloud. That's what I would do. That's it. That's the Williams fractals levels. So far they look good on the 12-hour. Depending on your entry, depending on your leverage, sizing, all that fun stuff. But we're already up. What are we up? 200% since September? Now this could go to 200. I don't know, right? So maybe you trim instead of reducing everything if this breaks down. I don't know. That's up to you. Can you check my page 98 low liquidity dumped on by the founders community member coin next? Yeah, Cosmos. I like the tech too, but clearly the tokenomics are not advantageous for price appreciation. Let's put it nicely like that. Look how these coins pumped in the last pump. Yeah, but again, you're playing hard mode. Like, are we really gonna try to pick bottoms on 15 different altcoins and hope that most of those play out? You could. I'm not saying you can't. Go for it. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. FTM, say, Sui, Arrow. They... All right. People are asking me an Arrow. Let's pull it up. Fine. Is it on? I thought it was on Kraken. I guess not. Arrow USD. It's also a sizing conversation. Where do you trust the majority of your net worth? Now, if your net worth is zero, effectively, like if we take the time machine on myself back to 2013, why did I choose BTC and not any other alt? I thought BTC was fine for exposure. This is not where my head was at, but using those words, but I didn't need to go to the nth degree to get risk at that time. So depending on the total proportion of your portfolio, yeah, do whatever you want with alts. But what I wouldn't do is just assume that they're all going to do great. They're all going to bounce. They're all going to hold their lows. This chart looks like we drew something way back here that played out. Look at that. We'll delete that, but that's interesting. This chart has a massive Adam and Eve. Massive. Adam, Eve. So I like a little higher here. I don't like the risk reward setup here. Cloud likes a retest of like $1. That's it. You know, like, yeah, it's not bearish. It looks fine. We can do it against BTC. Also has an Adam and Eve. Also has played out quite a bit. I think it just depends on where you're at in your journey, of your allocation journey. If you've been here for a decade, you're probably going to play around with alts a little less. But if you've been here since last year, yeah, I can understand it. I get it. But my whole point is everyone's trying to hit a home run every at bat. Every at bat, grand slam. Every at bat. Otherwise, they don't want it. Whereas maybe, just maybe, you could say, I like where this is at against BTC. It's done well. It's within realistic possibilities of where this could go. I'm going to reduce this somewhat into BTC or something else. And we can look at the fractals. Daily fractals don't really help you. 12-hour fractals, any new lower low, and it's saying, you know, be careful. There's probably a bear div on this as well, which there is. You're getting a higher high and a lower low in price there. So it just goes back to the obvious time frame, risk, allocation, sizing. I don't know. But yeah, it looks fine. It looks fine. Is it going to outperform BTC the entire cycle? I have no clue. I have no clue. All right. I think that's it for alts. Unless we got some other ones we care about. Some are doing fine. Memes are doing best. BTC pairs look generally awful. That's the TLDR. Yeah, a Yushkek. I would either use the single crypto settings like you have there for the daily, or just go to the 12-hour. It depends if you have access to the 12-hour charts. You don't have to do this. It just depends. Depends on depends on how fast you want to make trades. But I have noticed the daily cloud I use for BTC, generally a little too slow for alts. Doesn't mean it's bad, doesn't mean it's worse, but it is a little slower. That's all. 5-round home run. Yeah, Julian, we can talk about Square. Where do we want to start with legacy? Crypto legacy first, probably. Coin we talked about, and MSTR we talked about. I'll just hit on coin again with the cloud. Coin, CleanSpark, a few others that looked like this have pulled all the way back up. So that's good. If you were back holding this, which I wasn't, but if you were, good for you. It's back to break even essentially in the previous range. Doesn't look terrible. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. PayPal. PayPal to me still looks excellent. I know there's like 2 people besides myself trading this. Looks great. It's softly crypto adjacent. They've got a stable coin. They let you transact in crypto. Nubank, also crypto adjacent, South American bank. Looks fine. Not necessarily a slam dunk for anything, but it isn't bearish. Looks okay. Hood, obviously they have tons of crypto trading on their platform. It looks fine. Do I like entries here? Not really. I would just rather trade BTC. High time frame bear div on the 3-day there. You're getting higher highs, less momentum. I already closed half of a position on a double, and so I'm just holding the rest of it. But it looks fine. We had talked about this. Yeah, we talked about the Head and Shoulders possibility a while back, but we also talked about this, whatever this was, cup and handle thing. I don't know. I just wouldn't feel comfortable adding up here. That's just me. Finally, to Square. Square has been in a range for 2 years, 3 years. I've tried to take a few trades on Square, and they just haven't worked out. We're getting to the point now where this is starting to look better. It's above the weekly cloud also flipping. It's getting there, right? So anything higher, this looks a little bit better, all the way up until like 83, 85, and it should be on its way. I would look at, if you like Square, I would pay attention to PayPal. I would pay attention to Toast. Toast also breaking some of the fintech stuff. There's a fintech ETF. Is this it? I don't remember. Is this a FinX? There you go. FinX is Square. Square's in there. But what you could do is look at Square relative to this. Is it leading? Is it lagging? It's clearly lagging. You could measure Square against this, against the index, and then make the decision if you want to rotate around, right? Square relative to FinX, it's still bearish. You could set alerts on this diag. You know, you could get as creative as you want. Let's put an alert. Sure, why not? Still bearish. So I like the setup. I am not confident on when this plays out. Someone also asked about SoFi. SoFi on the daily looks fine. The problem with SoFi is they've had a lot of, I don't remember who it was on Twitter, just reading them the business about astroturfing everything, and they've had issues, let's just say. But I guess the theory here is if rates go down, they do better with their lending business. I don't know. It looks fine. It looks fine. Daily looks fine. Weekly looks fine. Cloud likes it. Chart pattern looks good. Does this outperform anything? I don't know. Like against BTC, it probably looks not great, is my guess. All right, maybe it is trying to bottom against BTC. I don't know. Maybe that's a rising wedge. I don't know. No clear. Nothing clearly one way or the other, but mostly has been bearish historically. I don't know. Looks okay. Looks okay. I liked it better back here, just because it's got that complex triple bottom thing. It didn't end up going anywhere, but it looks good. No issues. What would be a target? Anything that's, what's the 50% retrace? So we're already there. That's the 50% from high to low. I just don't know what other range. I guess you could measure this. Something like that. 14, 17. Cloud agrees. There's a ledge there. We'll say 15. 15 for SoFi. Yeah, I'll do the Mag 7 in a second. So that's fintech. What does it look like individually? What does it look like relative to the group? I would pay attention to that for Square, for PayPal, for Toast. I'm sure there's others. KWeb real quick, because we're thinking about it. Someone asked me about China stuff. It is at the breakout level. It's just tough because it's It's so manipulated is the word, but it's hard to trade this. Will this keep going? I don't know. Will they keep pumping liquidity to infinity in this? I don't know. I would just rather trade BTC or gold at this point. That's just me. But it looks like it has bottomed. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a slam dunk amazing trade, but it looks like it has bottomed. And you can look at FXI, similar story. It's just so tough because you've got all this money inflowing all at once. It goes way up. People take profit quickly. This is exactly what we don't want to see on BTC. You know, we don't want to see a move to 80 in a week because we know how that ends. It ends with people moving on. This slow grind is best case. So the China stuff is tough. For Mag 7, NVIDIA's been hit with all sorts of stuff. The semis, it's just like every day, headline after headline, positive or negative. But it still looks okay. It still looks fine. I just don't know if this is where you want to be right now. There's an ETF called MAGS. If we put that against BTC, MAGS is losing support against BTC. This is just the Mag 7 against BTC. So just to simplify it, the BTC chart looks better. Apple is at the ascending triangle level. Looks good. Measures to like 270. If this breaks up, S&P goes higher and NASDAQ goes higher. NVIDIA looks like it should just keep grinding. Like I don't know if it's going to be explosive, but it looks like it should just keep going. Microsoft just kind of stuck doing a bunch of nothing. Not the place to be right now by the looks of it. Even if this eventually breaks up, the risk here is that it doesn't. The risk here is then it just starts to droop below 400. Meta still looks okay, kind of struggling at the post breakout. But this is the same pattern that Apple has, ascending triangle. Netflix, huge move on earnings. And this is why I don't trade Netflix. I've never really had a good read here on what's going on. It continues to bumble along in the channel. I got nothing else. Nothing else other than that. We'll delete that. Amazon, similar to Microsoft, just kind of treading water. Hopefully this doesn't, if you're bullish this, hopefully it doesn't diamond top on you. Daily cloud looks okay. High time frame cloud looks okay. Maybe this is a cup and handle. Maybe it's like IGV where it just takes forever to break out. If I can find it. Where the heck? There it is. This is the software ETF. Looks fine. Slow, but looks fine. No issues there. Google had and has a low time frame inverted head and shoulders. They've also been hit with antitrust and tons of legal stuff. So you got to be careful there, but that's what the TA says. Tesla, I'm to the point where it's just not for me, the chart, to trade this. You could argue that there's a Trump trade here because of Musk and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. It's just not for me. It's just period, not for me. I do like this. Sorry, something in my eye. I like this above 270, but it's just not for me. It's just there's too much like founder risk, Musk risk. Let's say it like that. These are the settings for legacy that I use. Uber pulled back a bunch. Still looks fine. You know, it's had like a parabolic move. I don't have major issues with it. It just tapped the 1618 and then gave it all back. So it's trying to fill a gap, but it looks okay. Looks okay. All right, let's go to miners. WGMI had that inverted head and shoulders, broke out of the cloud, looks good for highs. Cores, I cut today because it's underperforming BTC. It's got this rising wedge. It did not reach its target, sadly. Now, this isn't, doesn't mean it won't, doesn't mean it can't. I just think some of this other stuff looks better. If BTC is bullish, BTC related miners should do better. If BTC is bearish, the AI related miners will probably do better. So that's just one way to think about it. But it still looks okay on trend. Wolf just chopping around, looks okay. I don't really have a strong, maybe it's something like this, and I don't know. I don't really have a good read other than it's trying to be bullish. CleanSpark, much like Coinbase, pulled way up this week. I don't know how much more this moves. It looks okay. If Trump loses, all of the miners probably take a massive move lower because they're concerned with regulatory stuff. So be mindful of that. IREN trying to break out of the inverted head and shoulders as well. So this looks good. Mara trying to break out of the inverted head and shoulders. Looks good. Riot trying to break out. Has broken out. Whatever this is down here. Looks fine. No issues there. Bitfarms has a similar pattern. And so you can see when we have this many types of companies in an industry, you don't have to love one of them. You can just look at all of them, pick your favorites and move on. It's just like, okay, you want exposure to mining? Well, you've got an ETF basket, or you can pick individual names. But to say like, I'm married to Marathon, looking at you, Jogan, or I'm married to Riot or whatever, that seems kind of silly to me. Cypher broke out, looks good. Looks ready for more, looks fine. BTBT breaking out, looks good. Most of these charts have some variety of inverted head and shoulder. HUT up 15% today. It has just like multiple inverted head and shoulder attempts here. So it's hard to take any of them seriously at this point, but it's trying. It's trying to move up along with everything else. Hive also up 15%, similar. Very similar. So I would always focus on the basket first, even if you don't like the basket, that's okay. What do you see on the basket chart that could tip you off to the rest of the charts? Somebody asked about Miggy. Miggy, how is Miggy look? Kind of sad. Maybe a massive inverted head and shoulders? I don't know. Something to think about. Yeah, we can look at crowd. CrowdStrike. It looks okay. I would just be worried. I'd be worried about this possibility. Rising wedge. But it looks okay. If we compare this to like Netflix and we take this back to like COVID, I'm just curious how that looked coming out of COVID. Didn't really ever have a rising wedge. I mean, maybe up to here it did, then it pulled back. Meta was similar. I think a lot of this is just like passive money, you know? Why is Meta, hold on. Anyway, yeah, crowd looks okay. I would just be careful of Careful of the rising wedge stuff. Dev, buddy, just do whatever you think is right, man. I can't give you trading advice. Some people DCA 50% of their stack once a week. Some people lump sum the other half. I don't know. I don't know where price is going. I'm bullish. I think it goes higher. I think pullbacks are bought. That's it. That's it. Where are we? Where are we at? I don't know. Like maybe this pulls back to, like I said, 66666, figures it out. I don't know. Maybe it goes to 61. I don't know. So I don't know, but it looks good. Looks good. All right. Palladium, someone wanted me to look up. CVX, is this Chevron? Chevron 4-hour cup and handle. So the cup and handle people are going to come after you because this is not a continuation. This is a reversal. But I'm not going to disagree. Sure. Sure. Why not? Now, what does this look like against Bitcoin? We're going to play this game. Zooming way out. Not great. Carbon versus digital, whatever, however you want to think about that. Basically at multi-year lows. Doesn't look great. Nobody's asked me about TLT, but we'll take a look. TLT's given a ton back because yields have been rising. Not great. Not in the near term anyway. Palladium. Somebody asked me 3 times. Palladium. Looks good. Sure, why not? Some of the commodities are popping off. How does this look against BTC? Against BTC, well, there's your answer. Not great. Not great. Oil versus BTC, yeah, that's a good one. Also not great. Basically the Chevron chart. Not great. I think is that a new all-time low? That's a tweet right there. I guess it's, you know, if we exclude the time when oil went to negative on a random day in April 2020, this looks to be about a new weekly close, all-time low. Almost. And I would just treat these like alts, you know, at least in my mentality towards alts. If you like Palladium, maybe don't make it your entire portfolio. I don't know, it's up to you, but clearly it hasn't done well against BTC historically. How do we get leverage exposure? If you're overseas, there's plenty of options on exchanges. If you are US based, there's leveraged ETFs. There's BTC miners, which are basically leverage. Yeah, I agree, Dev. I don't really understand what's going on other than the election stuff. I think that's all we got for today. Watch flows, see what this looks like over the weekend. Looks fine. My guess is dips will be bought. Yeah, Mastery. We looked at that in the open, but I don't know what people are expecting to happen. Are they expecting this to go higher perpetually? If Saylor keeps doing what he's doing and issuing whatever convertible debt or whatever to do whatever, yeah, this could keep going. But Back to sizing and allocation. Is it your entire portfolio? Is it just a beta to your core BTC position? Is it a quick in and out trade? Is it your exposure to leverage? You know, just things to think about. Monday all-time high break? Could be. Could be. We're getting close. Can you talk a little bit about taking profit strategies during a bull run? Yeah, this will be the last thing we talk about. So, like Joey says a lot, backtest the idea. Just backtest it. If I'm trading alts, I'm satisfied with 25%, 50%, 100%. Anything decent, I'm satisfied with that. Okay, I don't need to hit a slam dunk on alts. For BTC, for ETH, Sol, if you're swing trading levels, and let's be generous. Okay, let's say we think this is going to 100, fine. 98, whatever. Am I going to do anything at 80.7? Maybe. Depends what we look like. Did I do anything at 52 after we broke out? I didn't, because we looked fine. We looked fine. This was the post ETF breakout inverted head and shoulders stuff, right? This goes back to Williams fractals. Here was the pattern. This was the breakout. This was the trailing stop loss. We did not break down. I held the position until we broke fractals. Then I closed the highest leverage, riskiest position. The goal was to just ride it as long as you can. So if you use that same logic here, maybe you're looking at like the 8-hour chart. I don't know. Maybe you're watching this thing that I mentioned that F Society pointed out. So currently this looks fine. And you're just waiting, you know? Your stop loss could be the neckline. It could be something lower. But as far as profit taking, just you got to let the runners run. Otherwise, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I'm not saying you specifically, Giovanni, but you got to give the opportunity for the winners to play out. Now, if you're on 100x leverage, your strategy is different than this. You know, I'm on like 5x leverage or less swing trading. But if you're day trading on 100x leverage, this strategy might not work for you. But that's one way to think about it. Dev, the pivots are mathematical based on the previous year high and low. Pivot points standard, time frame yearly. If you look at these historically, they're pretty good levels to pay attention to. So this to me, 80.7 is where we should go on an all-time high breakout. Minimum. Are we going to overshoot that in the near term? I don't know. Are we going to stall there? I don't know. But that's the first level I'm going to watch after the breakout, after new all-time highs. It's pretty likely that similar to 52.5, we could see a little bit of a consolidation at that level. Again, backtest these. You'll see what I mean. They tend to be interesting ladders for price on the way up and on the way down. Then as price goes up, speculation being added to index fund and getting zombie money. Then as price goes up, the speculation of being added. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Just pivot point standard. You could probably just type in, maybe not, pivot. Just type in pivot point standard. That's it. That's it. So that's my level. It gives you supports too, 62.7. If you're not doing that, you're using Williams fractals. If you're not doing that, you're using measured move stuff. You know, there's lots of ways to skin this cat, but you got to let it run. You got to have levels in mind, entry, exit, stop loss, but ultimately just let it do its thing. Let it do its thing. A teleport labs. I don't know what that means, but I'll take it as a compliment, I think. Anyway, that's all I got for this one. I'm going to go touch some sky or grass or whatever. Thanks for hanging out. See you Sunday with Setup Sunday. And happy trading.